Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nick England, Chairman of Pharmx Technologies Limited. On behalf of the Pharmx board, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our 2025 AGM. Consistent with the last few years, we've chosen to hold today's meeting as a hybrid meeting, as we feel that gives you, our shareholders, the most flexibility and opportunity to engage with your board in this important forum. The Company Secretary has informed me that there is a quorum present, so I declare the meeting open. I confirm that the meeting has been properly constituted. Today's meeting has been convened in accordance with the Corporations Act. The notice of meeting was lodged with the ASX on the 10th of October 2025. We will take the notice of meeting and the resolutions to be considered at the meeting as read, if there are no objections. May I begin by introducing your board of directors. With me today, we have John Newbury to my left, Jane Shaw, who's joining us online from New York, and Sandy Mellis. I would like to extend a particular welcome to Sandy, who has recently joined the board as non-executive director, having previously served as an alternate director to Dennis Masters. We are also joined today by Tom Culver, our Chief Executive Officer, and Zoe Hillier, our Chief Financial Officer. Welcome also to Alicia Rothwell, partner of the company's auditors, BDO, is also present at the meeting today. Alicia is available to answer any questions on the audit. Also in attendance is our Company Secretary, Chris Fernandez. I'd also like to thank the Autonomic Group for hosting us at today's AGM. Before moving to the formal business of the meeting, I would like to briefly address matters of process for the meeting. Today's meeting is being held both in person and online via Automic's online meeting platform. This allows shareholders and proxies to attend the meeting virtually. All attendees can participate in a live webcast of the meeting. In addition, shareholders and proxies have the opportunity to ask questions and submit votes. Instructions on how to log in online and register are set out in the notice of meeting, and a summary is also displayed on screen. If the page does not respond as expected, please refresh your browser. You may be prompted to sign in again to ensure you remain connected to the meeting with minimal interruption. I will now take a few moments to explain how we will manage the voting and questions during the meeting today. For those of you in the room, you should have registered with Automic when you arrived, which will enable you to vote and to ask questions. If you have not registered, please step outside to the registration desk now. For those shareholders that are in attendance here with us in the room, please raise your hand if you wish to ask a question. Then identify yourself by name before asking your question. For those shareholders who have joined us online, questions can be submitted any time via Automic's online meeting platform. Questions can be submitted via the Automic Investor Portal at any time during the meeting. To ask a question, select the Ask a Question drop-down menu on the right-hand side of your screen, click on the green Ask Question button, and then choose either text question or verbal question. A panel will open where you can type your question or register to ask it verbally. Please also select the related resolution and indicate the shareholding or capacity on behalf of which the question is being submitted. When ready, click Submit Question. If you have chosen to ask your question verbally, please listen carefully for the moderator's invitation to speak and ensure your microphone is unmuted when called upon. I can confirm that online questions can now be submitted. Please note that while you can submit questions from now on, I will not address them until the relevant time in the meeting. Questions will be addressed in the following sequence throughout the whole meeting. Firstly, questions from the floor, followed by written questions online, and then verbal questions online. Please note that your questions may be moderated or, if we receive multiple questions on one topic, amalgamated together. Finally, due to time constraints, we may run out of time to answer all your questions. If that happens, we will endeavour to answer your question after the meeting has ended. All questions should be addressed to me as the chair. I will either deal with the question personally or ask somebody who is better placed to respond. We will do our best to answer any relevant question raised. I ask that you keep your questions as succinct and relevant as possible so that as many shareholders as possible can have an opportunity to ask a question. In terms of voting today, all items of business are being voted on by poll. For the purposes of the poll, I appoint Amy Wong of the Automic Group, the company's share registry, who have examined and prepared summaries of the proxy forms received to act as returning officer and to conduct the poll. Shareholders in attendance virtually who have already submitted a vote by proxy should note that your votes will already be counted towards the poll. You do not need to lodge another vote unless you wish to change your proxy instruction. However, if you have not submitted a vote by proxy and wish to vote on the resolutions being put to the meeting today, you can do so by registering your shareholding with Automic. Once you have registered and the poll has been declared open, you will be able to vote. To do this, please select the voting drop-down menu on the right-hand side of the screen, then choose either full or allocate for your electronic voting card to appear. Follow the prompts to record your voting direction for each resolution, and when you are ready, click Submit Votes. Please note that once submitted, your vote cannot be changed. If you have any problem registering your shareholding with Automic, please call the support number shown on the screen. Those shareholders present in person who are entitled to vote on the poll are all shareholders, representatives and attorneys of shareholders and proxy holders who hold yellow voting cards. If you are attending in more than one of these capacities, you will have been issued with as many voting cards as you have separate capacities. If anyone believes they are entitled to vote on a poll in any capacity and does not have a yellow voting card in respect thereof, please raise your hand now and a member of our share registry team will assist you. At the appropriate time, I will ask that you mark your vote for the resolution on the yellow voting card. If you are a shareholder and wish to cast all your votes for a resolution, please place a mark in either the for, against, or abstain box next to that resolution. If you wish to split your votes, please write the number or the portion of votes you wish to cast in the corresponding for, against, or abstain boxes. Please note that the sum of the split votes must not exceed your total holding. If you are a proxy holder, a summary of the votes to which you are entitled has been attached to the voting card. If the summary of votes includes discretionary votes, these are yours to cast at your discretion. If you wish to cast the discretionary votes, please place a mark in the corresponding for, against, or abstain boxes. If your summary of votes does not have any discretionary votes, you do not need to mark your voting card and will simply need to hand it to the returning officer at the end of the resolutions. After all the resolutions have been read and voted on, please place your voting card in one of the ballot boxes that will be circulating the room. Are there any questions in relation to the voting process?
Nothing online, Nick.
Proxies have been inspected and all those validly lodged have been accepted. Proxies have been received representing 209,411,607 shares, or 34.93% of the issued capital of the company. All undirected proxies or open votes that have nominated the chair of the meeting as their proxy will be cast in favour of each resolution in the notice of meeting. To allow shareholders time to log in and vote, I now declare the poll open. Online voting is now open and will remain open until I declare it closed at the end of the formal business. Your votes must have been submitted prior to the portal being closed for them to count. There are several items of business on today's agenda, which are shown on the screen now. I will provide the chair's address, after which we will proceed with the formal matters to be considered at today's AGM. We will then receive a business update for our CEO before allowing an opportunity for questions and discussion prior to closing the meeting. 2025 has been a year of strong growth for the company, which was achieved whilst undertaking key strategic investments to support further growth ambitions. Whilst Pharmx enjoys a dominant market position in both Australia and New Zealand, further significant growth opportunities have been identified which require investment in both technology and people. The focus of this strategy is the development of a single platform, enabling the business to simplify the offering to both pharmacy and supplier customers and to drive scale. This strategy is supported by continuing to grow the number of partners in the network, as well as expanding the services available in market. The first stage of this program has been to develop the supplier portal, reducing barriers to entry to the Pharmx network, giving suppliers near instant access to 99% of Australian and New Zealand pharmacies, as well as delivering a suite of advanced business tools designed to support supplier growth and engagement. We have developed our first pharmacy-facing product for the Pharmx Gateway, the pharmacy portal. This is a centralized platform designed to streamline operations for pharmacies and is viewed as a key strategic lever in delivering long-term loyalty to the Pharmx brand. Since our end of financial year results, the team has announced this launch of StockView, and this morning, the new marketplace platform. These are both important strategic milestones that drive engagement with pharmacies and increase the company's revenue opportunity. StockView gives pharmacies stock availability information across 120,000 SKUs from hundreds of suppliers, including all the major wholesalers. As the only market-wide solution of its kind, it reduces order failures, streamlines workflows, enhances patient care, and reinforces pharmacy's position as an indispensable partner in the pharmacy ordering ecosystem. The marketplace is a unified, modern ordering experience for Australian pharmacies, addressing a major market need and completing the pharmacy-side rollout of Pharmx's single platform strategy, consolidating its ecosystem into one scalable, integrated digital infrastructure. As a result of this launch, the Pharmx Change platform will be deprecated, with all customers migrating to the improved marketplace experience. I'm delighted to report that the development of both these portals was achieved both on time and within budget. Furthermore, the business was able to accelerate its growth during this period, for which management should be congratulated. Our financial results during the year were strong. Revenue from operations was $7.53 million, an increase of approximately 13% on FY24. This increase was driven by revenue from new supplier to pharmacy connections, as well as from our marketplace platform, which grew 193% on FY24. The fledgling data analytics business also made its first revenue contribution. The profit before tax from continued operations was $79,000. This is a decline compared to the underlying profit before tax in the prior year, largely due to the investment that took place during the year. There was an increase in technology, marketing, and sales resources during the year, as well as technology platform improvements to help drive success of the new single platform. This was also the first year of the underlying business had a full year of overhead cost allocations following the finalisation of the sale of the pharmacy software business during the previous financial year. Reported operating cash flow for the year was an outflow of $8.1 million. This included the payment in relation to the Pharmx court case of $9.9 million and the net R&D benefit received of $863,000. Excluding these items, underlying operating cash inflow was $902,000 compared to $1.96 million the previous financial year. The main additional expenditure in the FY25 financial year was in relation to people costs, including marketing and sales resources brought on to drive revenue growth. There was also $1.72 million of capitalised investment expenditure in FY25. This includes the capitalisation of some internal development, as well as the final payment of the $275,000 in relation to the early termination of the revenue share agreement for the purchase of the Pharmx Change intellectual property. This means we now own the asset outright with no further revenue share commitments, which is a saving to the company of $824,000. At the end of the financial year, cash on hand was $4.17 million compared to $13.13 million in the previous year. The previous year's cash balance included $9.9 million that was paid to settle the Pharmx court case during the year. There were a number of other key operational highlights during the year. In addition to the release of our supplier and pharmacy portals, the team developed a new AI-enabled analytics platform, a new growth-focused website, plus infrastructure upgrades to modernize platform management, data flow, and security. Internally, the team implemented the use of AI tools, a new CRM, an automated marketing platform, a new product analytics platform, and sales enablement support. These developments were supported by a new team structure and improved priority and metric tracking, which resulted in increased productivity, delivery, and efficiency as the year progressed. In February, Pharmx signed a significant new agreement with Tonic. This will give Pharmx access to nearly all New Zealand pharmacies and provide a significant revenue opportunity going forward. The company also renewed its long-standing commitment to Diabetes Australia by supporting the NDSS services. As mentioned previously, in December 2024, Pharmx secured the early termination of the revenue share agreement with Alchemy Healthcare relating to the acquisition of the marketplace intellectual property. This was a key precursor to investing in the next stage of marketplace growth as part of a broader investment program linked to the single platform strategy. As I mentioned earlier, the new marketplace platform was launched this morning. We continue to invest in developing a top-level team at both board and management level. I'm delighted that a resolution is being put to the AGM to confirm Sandy's appointment to the board. Looking ahead, the Australian pharmacy market remains highly attractive, driven by population growth, demographic shifts, and regulatory controls, with the Australian and New Zealand retail market forecasted to grow at 7.6% CAGR by 2030. Efficiency and technology investments remain crucial, with a rising need for tech-enabled workforce expansion and optimized workflows and digital innovation in the supply chain. Our FY26 strategy builds on the momentum established in FY25, with a continued focus on delivering more for our partners. We are committed to continuing to enhance our core technology services, ensuring that we maintain the highest and most modern standards of infrastructure system performance, security, and capability. We anticipate continued growth in our core Pharmx revenues, driven by an increasing customer base and enhanced engagement with those customers. Our focus on innovation and ensuring we continue to invest will remain central to our strategy. Management deserves great credit for the past year, and I would like to thank them for their dedication, and also to all our shareholders for your continued support. We will now proceed with the formal items of the agenda. The first item of business is to receive the company's annual financial report for the year ended 30th of June 2025. The financial report and the reports of the directors and the auditors are now laid before the meeting. There will be no vote on this item and is a discussion item only. The company's auditor for the 2025 financial year, Alyssa Rothwell of BDO, is present to take questions relevant to the conduct of the audit and the preparation and content of the independent auditor's report. Are there any questions or comments in the room on the financial report or the reports of the directors and auditors? Are there any questions in the room relevant to the conduct of the audit and the preparation and content of the auditor's report to be put to the auditor? Are there any questions via the online portal?
No questions.
We will now proceed to the resolution set out in the notice of the annual general meeting. Resolution 1 relates to the adoption of the remuneration report for the financial year ended 30th of June 2025. The 2025 remuneration report is set out in the company's 2025 annual report and provides the disclosures relating to executive and non-executive remuneration. The vote on Resolution 1 is advisory only. Shareholders are now requested to consider, and if thought fit, pass the following resolution: that the remuneration report of the company and its controlled entities for the year ended 30th of June 2025 be adopted. If you wish to discuss this resolution, please raise your hand, or if attending virtually, submit your questions via the Q&A.
No questions.
Proxies received in relation to this resolution are on the screen. I now put the motion. Those physically in attendance, please mark your voting instruction on your yellow voting card. Those attending virtually can vote via the online portal. However, are reminded not to click on Next until you have selected your vote for all resolutions. Resolution 2 is in respect of the election of Mr. Alexander Sandy Mellis as a director of the company. The board, other than Sandy, who has abstained, recommends you vote in favour of Sandy's re-election. Shareholders are now requested to consider, and if thought fit, pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution: that Mr. Alexander Mellis, who retires as a director of the company in accordance with ASX Listing Rule 14.4 and Clause 13.3 of the company's constitution, and being eligible and offering himself for election, be elected as a director of the company. If you wish to discuss this resolution, please raise your hand, or if attending virtually, submit your questions via the Q&A.
No questions.
The proxies received in relation to this resolution are on the screen. I now put the motion. Those physically in attendance, please mark your voting instruction on the yellow voting card. Those attending virtually can vote via the online portal. However, are reminded not to click on Next until you have selected your vote for all resolutions. Resolution 3 is in respect of the re-election of Mr. Andrew John Newbury as director. The board, other than John, who has abstained, recommends you vote in favour of John's re-election. Shareholders are now requested to consider, and if thought fit, to pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution: that Mr. Andrew Newbury, who retires as director of the company in accordance with the ASX Listing Rule 14.4 and Clause 13.2 of the company's constitution, and being eligible and offering himself for election, be re-elected as a director of the company. If you wish to discuss this resolution, please raise your hand, or if attending virtually, submit your questions via the Q&A.
I'm pleased to say there are no questions, Nick.
I now put the motion. Those physically in attendance, please mark your voting instruction on your yellow voting card. Those attending virtually can vote via the online portal. However, are reminded not to click on Next until you have selected your vote for all resolutions. Resolution 4 relates to the approval for additional 10% placement capacity. The directors of the company believe that Resolution 4 is in the best interest of the company and unanimously recommend that shareholders vote in favour of this resolution. Shareholders are now requested to consider, and if thought fit, to pass the following resolution as a special resolution: that for the purposes of ASX Listing Rule 7.1a and for all other purposes, shareholders approve the issue of equity securities totaling up to 10% of the issued capital of the company at the time of issue, calculated in accordance with the formula prescribed in ASX Listing Rule 7.1a2 and on the terms and conditions set out in the explanatory memorandum within the notice of meeting. If you wish to discuss this resolution, please raise your hand, or if attending virtually, submit your questions via the Q&A.
No questions on that one.
The proxies received in relation to this resolution are on the screen. I now put the meeting. Those physically in attendance, please mark your voting instruction on your yellow voting card. Those attending virtually can vote via the online portal. However, are reminded not to click on Next until you have selected or vote for all resolutions. That concludes the resolutions to be voted on today. As noted, we are conducting a poll on all resolutions, and I note that the poll is already open. Can all shareholders voting online please now ensure that they have submitted their votes? I will allow another minute before the poll is closed. If there are any questions in relation to the submission of online votes, please send them through to the Q&A function. For those shareholders attending physically, I now invite Amy Wong to collect your votes. Have all persons that intended to vote submitted their cards? Are there any further questions on the resolutions from any of the shareholders present in the room today? Are there any further questions on the resolutions submitted through the online portal? There being no further questions, I declare the poll closed. Staff of Automic will now process the poll and the results will be announced to the ASX once they are available. Is there any other business that can be lawfully brought forward? I will now ask John Newbury to read out any final questions that the shareholders have submitted online throughout the course of the meeting that are not specifically related to any resolution.
No questions online, Nick.
That concludes the formal items of the business. I'd like to thank all shareholders for their attendance and declare the meeting closed. As advised earlier, the results of the poll will be announced to the ASX once they are available. I would now like to invite Tom, CEO, to provide an update on how the business is progressing in FY26. If you have any questions for Tom, please raise your hand at the end of the presentation or add them to the online Q&A, and I will ask John to read them out. Over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Nick. Good morning, everybody. I just want to take a couple of minutes to give you a brief overview of the business, a bit of an introduction to those who are not familiar or who are new to the business, as well as a bit of an update on some of our progress since the beginning of the financial year. So Nick obviously introduced the board earlier on in his address. I also want to introduce the leadership team that obviously support the board and are responsible for the delivery of what we're able to produce within the business. So obviously myself as CEO, Zoe here as well as our CFO. Also have our CTO, Alistair, our head of marketing, Gabby, and our GM, Eric. This is our ELT, our decision makers, and those who lead execution across a growing business, both from an operational perspective and the strategic initiatives that we put forward. So as we think about what Pharmx is today, we're a fully integrated and highly efficient pharmacy technology provider with unrivaled reach, capability, and an opportunity for revenue growth at scale. We do this across three fundamental pillars across our business. So we're ANZ's most reliable integrated ordering network. We are used by 99% of ANZ pharmacies, and we're responsible for over $23 billion in transaction flow. We are ANZ's largest pharmacy network that offers mission-critical infrastructure to all major parties so that they can trade across the industry, as well as government agencies and technology vendors. And lastly, we are a provider of an increasing range of customer-orientated, owned and partner solutions, from analytics to trade marketing to technology services. Our purpose in this industry is to make a difference to healthcare by reimagining how the industry connects. This word reimagining is incredibly important. It's respectful of our position in the industry that's been established over 18 years, but is also understanding and respectful of the need to innovate and to change, to drive growth for our business and to drive growth and innovation across the industry. As we look back quickly on our F25 highlights, Nick obviously mentioned a couple of these, but as we look at this, it was a year of transformation and expansion. We demonstrated through the delivery of strong revenue growth, supported through highly efficient capital-light business model and the execution of key strategic milestones that develop long-term growth pathways. We were able to achieve a 13% uplift in revenues, strong positive EBITDA, strong cash balance at the end of the year. And as we think about our broader platform, KPIs and measures. We had an 18% increase in the total transaction volume, gross transaction volume that went through our platform. We saw a 16% increase in the number of suppliers active across our network and a 13% increase in the number of orders that we receive and process across our various platforms across the network. All of these are signs of our ability to both grow whilst we're also delivering new innovations to industry. As we think about what these growth pathways are, we have been focusing on for the last, since kind of March of last year, on a key strategic milestone around our single platform. We have now achieved, with the announcement today of Marketplace, a full pharmacy side rollout of our single platform solution. This is the consolidation of a complex ecosystem into one powerful, scalable infrastructure designed to transform the customer experience, eliminate key pain points, and drive far greater efficiency through our business. This is made up of our supplier portal and our pharmacy portal, which Nick talked through in his address. These are the main two pillars that sit across both sides of the marketplace. Within the pharmacy portal, we've also now released our stock view capability, which is a dynamic market-leading solution that solves critical problems to industry, as well as today our marketplace solution, which replaces the Pharmx offering that we previously had in market. So as we look at the supplier portal, this is a SaaS platform, so a self-service onboarding solution that's critical for supplier growth and for our ability to vertically integrate and to work in international markets. Our ability to bring on suppliers at scale with low friction points is critical to our ability to grow our network. Our pharmacy portal is a centralized platform giving ready access to order and invoice history, real-time spending insights, and seamless account management. Ultimately, the ability for any pharmacy across ANZ to see any transaction that they've processed, regardless of the point at which that transaction was originated, whether that be on our platform, through a partner point of sale vendor, direct with a supplier portal, or any other source, all in one place, creating significant efficiencies and capability and visibility for the pharmacy. Our stock view feature within the pharmacy portal, it's a universal stock availability tool, providing the only whole of market consolidated view of stock. We talk a lot about stock. It is a critical factor for pharmacies and suppliers. It is an area that is a challenge for the industry, particularly on the pharmacy side. A significant number of orders in this industry are placed without any knowledge of whether the product is available, which leads to a very high unfulfilled rate in orders across an industry. Our opportunity here is to help solve this problem for pharmacies to improve their experience. And then lastly, our marketplace. This brings together over 40,000 SKUs from hundreds of leading suppliers and manufacturers, including the complete Paragon Care range, formerly CH2, which is a leading CSO wholesaler in the market, providing a comprehensive pharmacy procurement platform. This integration of our marketplace, previously Pharmx, into our single platform enables us to significantly uplift the number of products that we can offer through the marketplace, significantly uplift the amount of information and data and capability in the platform, including focusing on things like automated reordering, seeing previous ordering history, a very significant range, which provides over 80% of stock to those ordering on the platform from day one, as well as our ability to show pricing and ultimately make the ordering process seamless for pharmacies. So why do we talk about the marketplace so often? Why has it been such a key part of our initiative? And why have we undertaken this process of replacing the Pharmx platform in market with a new, modern and enhanced platform? Starting off by re-explaining what the marketplace is. So for us, this is a modern, mobile optimized ordering platform for Australian pharmacies to begin with, moving to New Zealand later in the year, powered through the Pharmx gateway. It solves key customer pain points, range, pricing, stock visibility, and reordering. As I mentioned previously, it's launching with more than 80% of products available from day one. And it features a multi-cart checkout based on terms pricing, embedded analytics, and promotional capabilities. So ultimately, this means that pharmacies can order from a one-stop shop all their procurement needs, streamlining what is a process that takes hours today and is often completed through ordering from anywhere between 7 and 11 different points every time they place an order. So why Marketplace? This delivers a one-stop shop ordering experience for pharmacies. It unlocks a new digital engagement channel for suppliers, giving them scalable reach. And for our business, it diversifies and accelerates revenue streams, delivering added customer value and introducing, importantly, a volumes-based pricing linked to invoice value. And so if we look at the pie chart over on the right, this is a representation of what this means for our business. So today we manage $23 billion of transaction flow, generates $7.5 million of revenue. If we were to move less than 5% of that GTV through our marketplace, our revenues will increase by $20 million. That is a small indication of what we believe is the power of the marketplace opportunity, our ability to originate order flow and our ability to impact the way that we generate revenues in the market. As we think about what comes next for the marketplace, there are a number of additional features that will begin to roll out now over the coming months, including head office ordering or rep ordering, so the ability for somebody else to place an order on behalf of the pharmacy, mobile ordering, so the ability for a pharmacy to walk up and down their aisles, scan a missing product, automatically order that product, white label solutions, advanced order replenishment and auto replacement, so the ability to order products or replacement products if they are out of stock, or be able to automate the ordering based on seasonality and demand. Retail media becomes a critical element of any marketplace, the ability to promote products, sell real estate, payments, and paid analytics, all of which will start to add to our ability to generate revenue through the platform. So as we look back through the year and take a top-level view of our strategic achievements and reasons to continue to support our business, strong year-on-year performance with continued uplift in revenue and activity across all of our key metrics. We maintain a clear leadership position within this market. We have a highly efficient business with a proven record of disciplined execution. We've got a strong growth agenda supported by industry tailwinds and a strong strategic roadmap. We've got solid foundations established to drive accelerated growth, well-managed cost base, strong balance sheets, and we're operating in a market with very high potential and significant growth opportunities. I'd like to thank everyone for listening and for attending today. There's an opportunity to ask questions from my presentation or from anything else that has been talked about today. So please open up to the room or anybody online.
Thanks, Tom. Very encouraging for the business. If anyone's got questions, yeah, please raise your hand, or John, if you could indicate any that are coming through online.
Nothing so far.
So Tom, you've just kicked off Marketplace now, really, or from this point on.
Yeah.
So fair to say for the last 12 months, it's just not been a focus.
No, absolutely has been a focus. As we reported at the end of our financial year, our marketplace, our Pharmx exchange activities continued to grow nearly 200%. We think that is significant growth, but really just the tip of the iceberg.
What percentage of total revenue would Marketplace?
As we've talked about before, we don't disclose that. It's less than 10%, and we do not disclose until it is more than 10%. So we're not yet there.
Okay, and so how do you roll it out? I mean, it's the focus would be having people on pounding the pavement, or how do you actually get conversion?
Yeah, it's a combination of factors. So, something that is stronger in our business than it ever has been before is our digital and media capabilities. So our ability to advertise, to use social media channels. That is supported by our ability to leverage the relationships that we have at a one-on-one basis. So calling out, leveraging, speaking to individual pharmacies, as well as our capability to deal with groups. We have very, very established relationships with all of the pharmacy groups, all of which this platform has been built with in mind. As we think about more specifically over the next couple of months of our rollout program, we have a media campaign which launches today. We are running an events program with key target pharmacies. And over the last few months, we've also been working with what we call our Pharmacy Advisory Board, which are 20 pharmacies who've been responsible for helping us to develop the platform and who we expect to be, our key partners in growing the platform through their networks as well as through our networks. I want to be clear as well that, we're not targeting hundreds and hundreds of stores ordering on this platform over the coming months. What we're targeting is a very specific set of pharmacies who deal with the key suppliers that we have and the key wholesalers that we have.
So basically banner groups?
I won't go into specifics, but no, we're not looking at a banner group getting all their stores to order. We have a range of stores from different banner groups that we have identified based on needs, value of their trade, appetite to change and pick up a new platform, some of which have been engaged in the Pharmacy Advisory Board, some of which have been engaged separately, who we know will start to come across and start to trade very actively off the platform.
So they're, am I right in saying there's small independent groups?
It's a blend, yeah.
With an emphasis on geographic?
It is broad. We obviously have a focus in the metro areas, and the major cities, Sydney, Victoria, etc. But as an example, our first launch event is being held in Parramatta. It's not being held in Sydney CBD, because Parramatta is actually where we have a number of our key target pharmacies who we work with on a day-to-day basis, who need the additional support that we can provide through the platform. So, we're being very targeted in what we're doing. This isn't us looking to spend millions of dollars on marketing to attract 3,000 pharmacies who are going to trade $2,000 a year. This is about us attracting initially a very small cohort, sub 200, who will trade the vast majority of their trade through our platform. The reason for that is as I mentioned, we're launching essentially a revenue model around this, which is a percentage-based revenue model against invoice value or order value. So we want people to order as much as possible. Our target cohorts on average order $2 million a year in stock. So we want to capture the vast majority of that order flow.
And Tom, James Tracy here, quick question from me on this stock view. You mentioned that functionality is quite novel. It's one of the only ways that pharmacies can see the inventory position of what they're trying to order from their suppliers. What's the uptake been so far?
It's been fantastic. The response has been fantastic, incredibly positive. So if we think about the channel of our platform, so Pharmacy Portal being the main hub for pharmacies to interact with Pharmx with, then they come and use our features, so Stock View and Marketplace. Since the launch of Stock View, we saw a 150% increase in our rate of acquisition of pharmacies into the Pharmx platform. So a very significant uplift, which indicates that we have developed a platform of very, very high utility. We've also now been engaging with a number of pharmacy groups, banner groups, specifically on how we can tailor that solution to some of their cataloging needs, specifically within their group, because even within a group that is owned by a major supplier, they cannot achieve this themselves. They struggle to share data within their own businesses. They struggle to have data accuracy that we have, and they certainly don't have the whole market view to deliver.
So Tom, are you saying that if someone goes into Stock View, they're likely to then go the next step and go into Marketplace?
It's certainly,
and that's what's been happening?
That's well, we've only just launched Marketplace today. That's certainly one of our theses. Yes, absolutely. So from today, Stock View now has add to cart features. So if you're looking for stock, you find the availability, you can simply add it to your cart and check out through Marketplace.
So a pharmacist is going to go to Stockview on his own accord, on his own initiative, or do you have to give him a nudge?
At the
How do
moment,
you-
they
how
are
do you-
going through
how do
their
you
own
get-
initiatives. So on
Get
average,
to them to say that this is a service that you guys.
very, very similar to what I just mentioned around Marketplace. You know, we have digital media campaigns, we hit the streets, we have very strong relationships. This is now starting to pick up traction throughout the industry. And
Because this is something that they desperately wanted, right?
yeah, so on average, a pharmacy uses StockView 11 times a week at the moment. So it is incredibly well received. And we believe it's going to be a very, very strong lead into the Marketplace platform.
Can you monetize StockView directly, or you need people to?
We could, we've chosen not to. We think, you know, a couple of things. We take great pride in our position in the industry as the independent player who can solve problems for everyone. It would be opportunistic, we think, to charge a pharmacy 20 to 50 bucks a month for this service. There may be some value in there, but the long-term upside is not overly significant when you compare that to the opportunity through the Marketplace platform, which is revenue that is generated and paid for by the suppliers. So we want to continue to service where we can the pharmacies ultimately for free, and the suppliers continue to pay us. We stick to that strategy through StockView at the moment.
Tom, can you give us an update on the rollout of Gateway into New Zealand?
Yeah, so that has the integration with Tonic is complete. We are now onboarding an increased number of suppliers into New Zealand, and that is a mix of Australian suppliers who now want to trade through the New Zealand market, as well as new suppliers to our business who are based in New Zealand. That is in part a transfer from Tonic to our platform, or new suppliers who weren't using Tonic and now are using our platform for the first time. We're also now just doing some development work to roll out to the second largest New Zealand pharmacy group.
Sorry, who's that?
No, we're not. Green Cross is coming next. It is Barking Chemist Group. Thank you, sir.
How many pharmacies?
380.
Oh, wow.
Maybe not quite that many.
It's slightly small.
Okay, anyway.
That's about a third of the market.
And then we're moving on to Green Cross in the middle of next calendar year, which basically has the rest of the
You've
market.
already rolled out to Chemist Warehouse.
And we're already rolled out to Chemist Warehouse. So, you know, we're very happy with the progress of the New Zealand market. It is a smaller market, obviously, than Australia, but it will start to show some impacts.
So back of the envelope, guess that's about $1 million revenue for Pharmx.
If that's your guess.
You never give up, Damien, do you?
I'm just trying to get.
Jeff Paul, shareholder, what strategies do you have in place to prevent anybody hacking in and just for the joy of showing off their skills and upsetting the apple cart?
Great question. I mean, security is a critical part of our platform and a critical part of the ongoing conversations and relationships that we have, particularly with the key partners in the industry. So if you think about one of the major wholesalers, whether that be Symbion or Sigma, you know, these are multi-billion-dollar businesses who require us and expect us to have very, very advanced security settings so that their data is not compromised, whether that be personal data or, importantly for them, sensitive competitive data, particularly around pricing. So we spend a lot of time and energy on the modernization of our platforms. That's very important to ensure that you have the most current security protocols and that you don't have any, how I put this in simple terms, weakened backdoor access, which is established when
How do you
technology.
determine what's the correct level?
Sorry?
How do you determine what's the correct level?
We do our own internal audit on our technology systems, and our partners do annual technology audits on our systems as well. And so we're confident through those two processes that we're meeting the expectations of us and our partners.
Thank you. I'll hold you to it.
Yes. Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Anything online?
No, nothing online.
Okay, look, thank you very much for attending again. You're more than welcome to stay around to have an informal chat with the board and management, and I declare the meeting closed. Thank you.